So this is going to be another movie review. This one's called Curse of the Stone Hand, 1964. No, 1965, sorry. This is going to be a Charles Mento recommendation. Giving it 5 out of 5 stars. I love this flick. I wasn't a big fan of the director when I saw Attack of the Giant Leeches, which not coincidentally also has Bruno de VeSota, who's the narrator in this one. Bruno VeSota is plays the he portrayed Dave Walker, the fat shop owner in Attack of the Giant Leeches. Sorry, it took me a while to figure that out. And Charles Mento commented a month ago, so I'm only a month behind on my list here, about 3 John Carradine movies. This one and a couple of other. He said Curse of Stonehand. Actually, it's Curse of the Stonehand. And Dr. Terror, Grave of Horrors. And The Hostage. I guess he played Dr. Terror in Grave of Horrors. I don't know. It's a little confusing, a little bit of bad grammar from Charles Mento, but I'm glad that I figured it out. If you don't know who the director is, Jerry Warren, he's the worst director of all time that you never heard of. That's the best way I can describe it. And I was so intrigued by this that I got an even worse rated movie of his called Attack of the Mayan Mummy. I've got that on my list now. I'm looking forward to seeing that. Anyways, it's a 1965 horror film created by movie producer Jerry Warren. We talked about him. By editing together 2 1940s Chilean films, La Casa Está Vacía. In English, that means the house is empty. A 1945 film directed by Charles Shelpier and La Dama de la Muerte, The Lady of Death, a 1946 film directed by Charles Hugo Christensen, based on Robert Louis Stevenson's The Suicide Club. Okay, that's 3 movies. I'm confused now. I'm reading off Wikipedia again. Warren combined sections of each film padded out the running time with newly filmed footage he shot with actors John Carradine and Katherine Victor. And there's another guy, too. It was released theatrically in 1965 on a double bill with Warren's similarly constructed Face of the Screaming Werewolf. Oh, I got to find that. I'm going to add that to my list. Face of the Screaming Werewolf. See the trailer. but I don't see the full movie. Never mind. I see reviews and trailers, but no full movie. Bummer. Dang it, I wanted to see that. Is it on Netflix? I'll see if Mayan Mummy is on Netflix too. Now that I have it up. Attack of the Mayan Mummy. Of course not. About Face of the Screaming Werewolf. Nope. Yielded no results. We're doing this real time trying to figure out what's on Netflix. Absolutely nothing. The film is a two-story anthology sandwiched by a framing story that attempts to place the events of the two shorter stories as having all happened in the same house, even though the houses don't look the same. An avid gambler moves into a cursed house in which he discovers a set of sculpted stone hands in a wall niche in the basement. Oh, I missed that part. The hands somehow put a curse on the occupant of the house, and the gambler comes to a bad end financially. The gambler joins what he thinks is a gambling club, only to learn that it's actually a suicide club. So he's short of money, and kind of reminded me of Seconds, that story. He goes to some weird place with this bald-headed guy who runs a suicide club, and if you draw the Queen of Hearts, then you end up getting murdered or something. So, and then they collect the life insurance on you. It's kind of creepy. Anyways, this is all in black and white, by the way. The house passes down to a different family in time. I think it's after 5 months, if I'm not mistaken. And the new owner's son becomes obsessed with the stone hands in the basement. He begins acting sadistically in the basement. I thought it was outside. He begins acting sadistically and develops hypnotic abilities, which he uses to control his brother's fiancée. She manages to free herself from the spell, and the hypnotist is killed. That's not even the ending. John Carradine plays the old drunk. And I said Bruno VeSota was the narrator. Critical reception for this film has been mostly negative. Author and film critic Leonard Maltin awarded the film a bomb in all caps, his lowest rating, calling it incoherent. Another person by the name of Dave Sindelar criticized the film's directing, writing, and cutting. The latter he criticized as making the film incomprehensible. In other words, my kind of flick. All right. It gets a very low. Very low. 2.9 out of 10, only 141 ratings. Although the on YouTube it's got 33,140 views, which is not a lot, but still, considering this kind of Z-grade movie from 1965 with John Carradine, that's a considerable amount of views for a movie of this caliber, or lack of caliber, I should say. Anyways, I missed a couple things when I was talking about the message in my last video. I misnamed a professor quiz. Mention, or recommendation, I should say. He recommended Shogun Assassin, and I said Samurai Assassin. I can't even get my name straight here. Anyways, the film was The Message, 1976, was nominated for Best Original Score in the 50th Academy Awards, composed by Maurice Jarre, but the film lost the award to Star Wars, composed by John Williams. What else? There are two versions. There's the Arabic version, which is 207 minutes. That must be even more painful to watch with subtitles. And then you've got English version, 178 minutes. What else? In July 1976, 5 days before the film opened on London's West End, threatening phone calls to a cinema prompted Akkad to change the title from Muhammad, Messenger of God, to The Message at a cost of £50,000. What else? Oh. What was I? Where did I see that? Oh, okay. Oh, here we go. In 1977, as the film was scheduled to premiere in the United States, a splinter group of the Black nationalist Nation of Islam, calling itself the Hanafi movement, staged a siege of the Washington, D.C. chapter of Banu Barith, under the mistaken belief that Anthony Quinn played Muhammad in the film. The group threatened to blow up the building and its inhabitants unless the film's opening was canceled. The standoff was resolved after the death of a journalist and a policeman, but the film's American box office prospects never recovered from the unfortunate controversy. So it was a box office dud financially, but I think it picked up later on with the advent of VHS and DVDs and Blu-rays. So now you have everything you wanted to know about The Message. And I think I talked about Curse of the Stone Hand. I added Attack of the Mayan Mummy to my list because I saw Jerry Warren. I saw the review from Attack of the Mayan Mummy on IMDb. I'll read it to you. My son thought it was funny too. It's a TV movie, and it gets an even lower 2.0 out of 10 on IMDb. It has more ratings, 158. And the movie poster looks terrible. It looks really bad. Where did I see that? Okay, so there are a total of 8 user reviews on here. One of them really caught my eye. I want to read it to you just for the heck of it. Seeing as how the director padded out his scenes with John Carradine, I'm going to pad out my movie review with a review of one of his other movies. How do you like that? Okay, this is Michael Elliott, March 15, 2014. About as bad as Warren can get. Attack of the Mayan Mummy, 1964, bomb out of 4. Director Jerry Warren made a career out of making some of the very worst movies ever made. Why is his name never brought up as one of the worst directors ever? That's probably because most people fall asleep within minutes of hitting the play button. When he wasn't making his own movies, which was rare, the director was buying foreign movies, cutting them to pieces, and then filming additional scenes with American actors. The Mexican horror movie La Momia Azteca, the Aztec Mummy, is the victim here, as Warren takes a few of its scenes and adds all sorts of overly long scenes dealing with people talking. This is usually what happens on these butcher jobs, but I was really shocked to see how little footage was used from the original picture and how long the added dialogue scenes actually are. It's hard to determine what Warren movie is his worst, but this here was pretty hard to sit through for a number of reasons. For one, the dialogue scenes are just so drawn out and long that you couldn't help but nearly nod off during each of them. That's probably why I didn't like Attack of the Leeches. Anyways, even worse is the fact that the dialogue rarely makes any sense. It's hard to follow what they're even trying to say. Another problem is that there's not too much good footage from the original film, but I'm going to guess that this was due to the original movie not having too much footage of the actual mummy monster. Even the original film, he didn't show up until the end, and that footage is here. When viewing the work of Warren today, we already know his history and how he cut up pictures and added footage and narration. I can't imagine what it must have been like back in the day when this was first released and you just happened upon this awful picture. Yeah, sounds like my kind of flick. Right up my alley. I don't know why Attack of the Giant Leeches bored me. I think Adrian actually bought that or something. He told me after I reviewed it. He didn't even comment on that review. But cool. So let me go through my list real quick. My updated list. And then I got to drop him off in 15 minutes. His 5-day vacation is almost over. And he gets to... his mother kept calling here like 6 times last night. And I didn't hear my phone ring. He didn't hear it ring. She's trying to... she's like having a heart attack if he doesn't go walking around Golden Gate Park. It's detrimental to his health if he doesn't walk around Golden Gate Park. And if you look at my Attack of the Giant Leeches, you can see that she's haranguing me on the phone at the very beginning of my review. I showed my son and he got a kick out of it. Anyways, it was pretty funny. Okay, so next up is Gallery of Horrors, 1967. The Hostage, Blood Beach, 1980, Lady Whirlwind, 1972, Heavy Traffic, 1973, Shoot Fighter, Fight to the Death, 1993, Tales from the Crypt, 1972, Inflation, 1942, Without Warning, 1980, Revolt of the Zombies, Assault on Devil's Island, Shoot Fighter 2, 1996, Samurai Cop, and Attack of the Mayan Mummy, last but not least, 1964. All right, cool. So I learned a lot about Jerry Warren. I updated you fully on the message. I think I beat the Curse of the Stone Hand with the dead hand. Sorry, I had to sneak a pun in there. All right. I think I've had too much fun today watching Daredevils of the Red Circle, The Message, which I hated, but Curse of the Stone Hand made up for it big time. So I'm pretty happy. 2 out of 3 hits and 1 miss. 1 out of 3 miss. So it's been a good day of watching and reviewing. I got 2 reviews in. I got to go to work tomorrow for the first time in about 10 days. So wish me luck with that. Laters.